Hi everybody, I hope that the deliver stage went well for you and that you have both enjoyed and learned from implementing your suite of innovative knowledge acquisition, knowledge deepening and knowledge creation lessons. One of the key elements of the 4D model is that participants have the opportunity to experience implementing their innovative lessons with their own classes. This enables you to learn firsthand what works and what is challenging about such digital educational practice. The multiple iterations enable you to revisit those learnings, and both your students and yourself will enhance your capacity over time. Further, you now have the chance to reflect on your experiences with your teammates. So welcome to the debug stage of the 4D model. The debug stage is the fourth of the four stages of the 4D model: design, develop, deliver, and debug. During the debug stage, you will meet with your teammates and reflect on your knowledge acquisition lesson, reflect on your knowledge deepening lesson, reflect on your knowledge creation lesson, and you should have asked a peer at school to evaluate your lessons against the digital learning framework under Domain 1 and Domain 2. Reflecting on the lessons. Keep in mind the lesson plans that you co-created. Consider the three lessons individually and as a whole. In particular, consider the flow from teacher-led to student-led. How was this achieved in the lessons you designed, and how successful was it in practice? What are the differences between each stage, and could the stages go further? For example, in the knowledge creation stage, was it wholly student-led? If it was, how was this achieved in practice? What learning can you take away from it? If it wasn't wholly student-led, what changes could you make to afford such practice? Next, look at the lesson elements. Look at them for each individual lesson and then look at them as part of the whole. Did the subject matter change along with the lesson trajectory? Did the students encounter a range of different subjects as they moved through the stages? Consider the strands and strand units. In relation to the curriculum, were the students experiencing more and more objectives from different subjects as the lessons progressed? Then consider the skills that the students focused on and what multidisciplinary skills they learned. Ask how these skills could be applied to other subject areas. Then look at the methodologies. What are the key differences between each stage? In particular, examine the differences between knowledge deepening and knowledge creation. What is different? Are there other differences? And this will help you to embed such learning in your own practice. Moving on, consider the digital skills. When are the students the active users of digital technology at school? Whereas teachers may be digitally competent, it is only through their own hands-on experiences that the students will develop their personal digital educational competence. Did you notice at any stage that students surprised you? Were the students able to teach one another? How could this be utilized in your own classroom? Remember that if teams work for teachers, they can work for students also, but the students need to practice these skills so as to attain a level of competence like yours. Then consider the design of the learning environment. How did this change as you moved through the stages? What differences can be made to the design of the learning environment so as to facilitate knowledge acquisition, knowledge deepening, and knowledge creation, teaching and learning? Going forward, how can the design of the learning environment be enhanced? And finally, look at the assessment strategies for each stage. Assessing knowledge acquisition is relatively straightforward. However, how do we know if the students have deepened their knowledge? And significantly, how do we assess their knowledge creation artifacts? One of the challenges of the open-ended nature of the 4D model's objectives is that during the knowledge creation stage, the students co-create their own artifacts. We don't know what artifacts they will create or what knowledge they will focus on. it may be useful to collectively examine some of the artifacts the students have created in each teammate's class. You have also been asked to seek critical feedback from a peer about the lessons you designed and to have them measure them against the digital learning framework under the following categories of Domain 1, Learner Outcomes on page 5 of the Digital Learning Framework, and Domain 2, Learner Experiences on page 6 of the Digital Learning Framework. This exercise is interesting and it is intended on you receiving feedback from those peers at school who are often so influential in the types of practice we actually implement. Consider where each of the three stages of knowledge acquisition, knowledge deepening, and knowledge creation were measured against the standards of effective practice and the standards of highly effective practice. If the feedback is positive, great! Maybe some of your colleagues would like to work together with you to design, develop, deliver, and debug some innovative digital educational practice at your school. If the feedback is negative or underwhelming, maybe some of your colleagues would like to work together with you to design, develop, deliver, and debug some innovative digital educational practice at your school. Teamwork will help us to iron out these challenges. Some useful tips. Remember that during each time you implement the stages, the quality of both your understanding and skill and the students' understanding and skills will improve. It is unlikely that you or the students will master the learning first or second time round. Document your learning. Record the salient points that you have discussed and considered with your teammates. This will help you with your further implementations. Record these points in your shared Google Drive folder and also take a copy for yourself. There are important points you can use in your own professional practice. Consider those factors which afforded or construed the lesson's implementation, particularly at the knowledge deepening and knowledge creation stages. Finally, and arguably most importantly, you are debugging, you are not criticizing. This is an exercise in abstracting those elements of the lessons and their implementation that worked and that didn't work so well. How can you overcome any barriers to implementation that you experienced? There should be no criticizing of anybody. Your focus is solely on the lessons. Nobody is being evaluated or measured. It is the lessons and the lessons only that are up for discussion. Just to recap, during the debug stage, you will meet with your teammates and reflect on your knowledge acquisition lesson, reflect on your knowledge deepening lesson, reflect on your knowledge creation lesson, and ask a peer at school to evaluate your lessons against the digital learning framework under Domain 1 and Domain 2. Congratulations on getting to this stage. I hope that the project is going well for you and that you are all feeling more confident about your capacity for innovative digital educational practice. Again, just to reiterate, if you feel the need to contact me, please don't hesitate to do so.